Virgo is often misunderstood. On the surface, they appear gentle, patient, and endlessly kind, the type of person who will listen carefully when others rush to speak, who will notice the small details that everyone else overlooks. Their kindness feels steady, reliable, almost like the earth beneath your feet, quietly holding you up without ever asking for recognition. But hidden within this softness is another truth, one that often catches people off guard. Virgo's kindness is a choice, not a weakness. And when that choice is abused, ignored, or taken for granted, something entirely different awakens within them. The duality of Virgo lies in this balance. They are healers, nurturers, and problem solvers. Yet beneath the calm exterior is a fierce protector of boundaries. Their kindness flows freely as long as it is met with respect. Once that line is crossed, however, Virgo becomes someone else, sharp, discerning, and unapologetically strong. This is the paradox of their nature, the mystery that fascinates and sometimes unsettles those who encounter it. To understand Virgo fully, you must see both sides. They are ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and precision, which grants them both gentle words of healing and sharp words of truth. They belong to the earth element, grounding them in patience, routine, and responsibility. But Earth also has fault lines, and when pressure builds for too long, the ground will crack. Virgo embodies this same pattern, quiet strength that can suddenly release into force when provoked. This is why so many people misinterpret Virgo. They see the service, the care, the calm, and assume it is endless. They mistake silence for submission and patience for passivity. Yet Virgo remembers. They observe. They weigh. And when their inner scale tips, the transformation can be startling. What was once kindness becomes clarity. What was once softness becomes steel. It is in this duality that the 5 shocking traits of Virgo emerge, each one a revelation of how kindness and fire can exist within the same soul. To see Virgo only as the gentle helper is to miss half their story. To see them only as critical or harsh is to misunderstand their protective fire. The truth is both, and the beauty is in the balance. This journey begins with their first trait, the healer's patience, the foundation of their kindness and the root of their strength. The first shocking trait of Virgo is their healer's patience, a quality that seems endless but is in fact carefully measured. Virgo's kindness begins here, in their ability to wait, to endure, and to give without demanding immediate return. They have a natural instinct to help others, often stepping in quietly to fix what is broken, to organize what is scattered, or to soothe what is hurting. This patience is not passive. It is active care, the steady hand that holds when others shake. It is what makes Virgo such a reliable friend, partner, and guide in moments of confusion. This patience is rooted in the earth element, which governs Virgo. Like soil that nurtures seeds, they give space for growth and development, even when the process is slow. They are willing to listen to long stories without judgment, to try again when others would quit, and to forgive mistakes that would make others turn cold. Virgo's patience is not about ignoring flaws. It is about believing that flaws can be refined, improved, and transformed. This is why they often see potential in people before others do. Yet this trait, so beautiful in its expression, carries its own shadow. Virgo's patience is not infinite. They do not broadcast their limits loudly. Instead, they quietly hold on until the point of no return. When that threshold is crossed, the very patience that once felt comforting becomes a silent sign of withdrawal. Suddenly, the healer steps back, and the kindness that flowed so freely is withheld. Those who once leaned on Virgo's patience find themselves facing a wall they never expected. It is here that many are shocked, because they assumed Virgo's patience meant unconditional acceptance. But Virgo has always been keeping track, not in the spirit of punishment, but in the spirit of discernment. They know when their energy is no longer respected, when their care has turned into a one-sided burden. The shift is rarely loud or dramatic. It is calm and decisive, the quiet end of tolerance. To witness this transformation is to realize that Virgo's patience is not weakness, but strength. It is a conscious gift, offered with love, but withdrawn with equal clarity when boundaries are broken. And this is only the beginning. For beyond patience lies their second shocking trait, the role of the silent observer, where their true depth of perception begins to show. The second shocking trait of Virgo is their role as the silent observer. Unlike signs that rush into reaction, Virgo prefers to step back and watch. They notice what others dismiss, collecting fragments of behavior, words, and energy until the full picture becomes clear. This quiet vigilance makes them appear reserved, sometimes even detached, but in truth they are absorbing everything. Their memory for details is astonishing, and nothing slips past their radar for long. This observational quality is both their strength and their secret weapon. Virgo does not need to confront every slight in the moment, nor do they waste energy on impulsive anger. Instead, they store information, analyzing patterns with precision. Over time, this creates a mental record that few can escape. When others expect them to forget, Virgo remembers. When others assume the past is buried, Virgo has already drawn conclusions about trust, loyalty, and respect. What surprises many is the quiet power of this silence. People often underestimate Virgo, mistaking stillness for surrender. They do not see that the quiet gaze is calculating, discerning, and weighing. And when the time comes for Virgo to act, their decisions are not born of rash emotion, but of careful evaluation. A relationship, a friendship, or a business connection can be ended in a single decisive moment, backed by months or even years of silent observation. This is why being on Virgo's good side feels like safety, and being on their bad side feels like an unexpected fall. They rarely explode in chaos, but their withdrawal can be devastating. The person who once listened patiently and offered help now becomes distant, unreachable, and unyielding. Their silence becomes louder than any confrontation, leaving others to reflect on the choices that led there. Virgo's role as observer is also tied to their Mercury rulership, giving them a sharp mind that thrives on detail. They can read subtle cues, tone shifts, and micro-expressions with uncanny accuracy. This makes them excellent judges of character, but also formidable opponents when crossed. To live under their gaze is to live with accountability, whether acknowledged or not. This trait leads naturally into the next revelation, the perfectionist's boundary. For while Virgo's patience and observation define their kindness, it is their high standards that ultimately shape the limits of their generosity. And once those standards are broken, their true edge begins to emerge. The third shocking trait of Virgo is the perfectionist's boundary, a force both misunderstood and underestimated. Virgo is often labeled as demanding or overly critical, but beneath this lies a core truth. They hold themselves to incredibly high standards, and they expect others to honor the same respect and integrity. Their kindness is rooted in genuine care, but it does not blind them to flaws or excuses. Instead, they set silent boundaries that reflect the value they place on effort, respect, and consistency. At first, these boundaries are invisible. Virgo gives, supports, and forgives, hoping that others will recognize the weight of their patience. But when those unspoken lines are crossed repeatedly, something inside them shifts. They begin to withdraw their energy, their time, and their care. This withdrawal is not punishment, but a declaration. I will not sacrifice my peace for chaos. Virgo would rather stand alone in silence than remain entangled in relationships or situations that undermine their standards. This trait often manifests in subtle yet powerful ways. A Virgo who once answered every message may suddenly fall quiet. A coworker who once took on every responsibility may decide to delegate without explanation. A partner who once overlooked small mistakes may now demand accountability. These shifts can feel sudden to others, but to Virgo, they are the natural result of broken trust and ignored respect. The perfectionist's boundary is both protective and transformative. It teaches others that kindness should never be mistaken for limitless tolerance. Virgo's kindness is deep, but it has edges sharp enough to cut ties when necessary. The moment they realize their standards have been compromised beyond repair, they do not hesitate to act. This decisiveness shocks those who assumed Virgo would always endure, but it is in this very strength that their integrity shines. Yet these boundaries are not born from cruelty. They are born from love, for themselves, for truth, and for the value of mutual respect. To cross them is to awaken a side of Virgo that no longer negotiates or explains. And it is here, on the edge of these boundaries, that their words transform. For when patience and observation have reached their limit, Virgo reveals their sharpest tool of all, a tongue that can cut with surgical precision. The fourth shocking trait of Virgo is the sharp tongue, a weapon they rarely use but one that leaves a lasting mark when unleashed. Ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, Virgo possesses a natural gift for words. In their gentle state, those words are supportive, thoughtful, and healing. They know how to soothe pain with precise language and offer guidance that feels like clarity in the midst of confusion. But when pushed too far, that same precision becomes their blade, and their words cut with a truth so raw that it cannot be ignored. Unlike fiery signs who explode in anger, Virgo does not waste words in heated chaos. Their sharp tongue is deliberate, controlled, and devastatingly accurate. They speak only when they know the weight of their words will land exactly where it hurts most. This is not a wild outburst. It is a scalpel, slicing through pretense and exposing reality. The shock lies in the fact that Virgo's critiques are rarely exaggerated. They sting because they are often true. Those who have experienced this side of Virgo rarely forget it. A single sentence, spoken at the right moment, can echo louder than hours of argument. Virgo's choice of words is surgical, removing illusions and confronting others with what they tried to hide. It is here that kindness transforms into brutal honesty, a form of tough love that leaves no room for denial. What makes this trait more powerful is its unpredictability. Virgo is usually quiet, restrained, and careful with speech, so when they finally speak with cutting clarity, it catches everyone off guard. The person who once whispered encouragement now delivers truth with unshakable firmness. There is no need for shouting, because the calm tone only amplifies the sting. This sharp tongue is not about cruelty, it is about justice. Virgo cannot stand deception, disrespect, or repeated disregard for their boundaries. Their words become the final act, the mirror that forces others to confront their own behavior. And once spoken, there is no going back. The air shifts. The silence that follows carries weight, and the relationship often changes forever. But the sharp tongue is only one layer of Virgo's hidden fire. Beneath it lies something deeper, something many never expect: the hidden fury, an inner storm that reveals itself only when every line has been crossed and every ounce of patience consumed. The fifth shocking trait of Virgo is their hidden fury, a side of them so rarely seen that it takes people by complete surprise. Most know Virgo as composed, practical, and calm under pressure. They are the ones who keep order when chaos erupts, the ones who breathe deeply and choose reason over raw emotion. Yet this calm exterior can mislead others into believing that Virgo never feels rage, or that their patience has no breaking point. The truth is far more unsettling. When Virgo's fury awakens, it is controlled, deliberate, and unstoppable. Unlike signs that erupt in visible fire, Virgo's anger builds slowly, almost silently. They absorb, they endure, they analyze. But beneath the surface, pressure accumulates, and when it finally reaches its threshold, the release is seismic. This fury does not come as scattered shouting or empty threats. Instead, it manifests as decisive action: doors closed, ties severed, truth spoken with finality. Once Virgo decides they have had enough, their decision is immovable. What shocks people most is the contrast. The same Virgo who once offered unconditional support can suddenly vanish from someone's life without hesitation. The friend who was always available no longer answers. The partner who once overlooked flaws now refuses compromise. The coworker who carried burdens now drops them without looking back. This shift feels sudden to others, but to Virgo, it is the result of long internal calculation. Their hidden fury is not about revenge, it is about liberation. Virgo does not seek to destroy, but to cleanse. Their anger becomes a form of purification, cutting away what no longer serves them or what has violated their deepest values. And because they do not show this side easily, when it emerges, it carries extraordinary force. It is the storm after years of quiet skies, the earthquake after patient silence. This trait often leaves a lasting impression on those who provoke it. People learn that Virgo's kindness is not endless, that their patience has a cost, and that their silence does not mean blindness. When their fury comes, it is the final chapter, a door that rarely reopens. And yet, as fierce as this hidden fire may be, it is not the whole story. Beneath it lies an even greater mystery. Why Virgo hides this side for so long, why they choose peace again and again, until they can no longer hold it. This leads us into the deeper understanding of why they rarely reveal the fire that burns within. Virgo's hidden fire raises a vital question. Why do they conceal this side of themselves for so long? The answer lies in their deep preference for order, peace, and stability. Virgo is not naturally confrontational. They dislike chaos. They dislike unnecessary drama, and they prefer to keep harmony wherever possible. Revealing their fury feels like unleashing disorder, and so they resist it until the very last moment. Their default setting is restraint, because they believe control of the self is the highest form of strength. Virgo wears a protective shell, one that shields both themselves and others. They hide their sharper edges behind patience and kindness, offering people chance after chance to do better. This concealment is not deception, but discipline. They know that anger, if released too soon, can create destruction they may later regret. So they wait, hoping that understanding will replace conflict, that respect will be restored before it is too late. In their silence lies a prayer for peace. But this restraint often fools others into underestimating them. Many take Virgo's quiet tolerance as endless supply, forgetting that the shell protects a core of steel. What looks like passivity is actually a slow test, a gathering of evidence, a careful weighing of whether the relationship or situation deserves to continue. When the final decision comes, it feels sudden to outsiders. But for Virgo, it has been decided long before the moment arrives. Their mutable earth nature also explains this hidden pattern. Being mutable, Virgo can adapt, bend, and adjust in ways that more rigid signs cannot. They are flexible, willing to compromise, and skilled at smoothing rough edges. But Earth cannot be stretched infinitely. Eventually, the ground cracks, and what once bent with grace stands firm with immovable weight. This choice to conceal their fire for as long as possible is not weakness. It is wisdom. It shows their maturity, their refusal to waste energy on battles that do not matter. Yet when the fire finally emerges, it reveals how much has been restrained. And it is this contrast that makes their fury unforgettable. And within this hidden duality lies a greater lesson. For Virgo does not just live this truth for themselves. They embody it as a teaching for others, showing that kindness must be balanced with boundaries, and that patience must always be paired with self-respect. Virgo's journey through kindness and fire carries lessons that reach far beyond their personal boundaries. Their very nature teaches others about balance, about the delicate art of offering compassion without becoming a sacrifice. To stand close to a Virgo is to witness a living example of patience that nurtures, observation that protects, and firmness that restores dignity. Their perfectionist boundaries, their sharp words, and even their hidden fury all point to one central truth. Kindness is most powerful when it is paired with self-respect. The first lesson Virgo offers is the value of patience. They show that true care is not rushed, that listening can heal more than speaking, and that time itself can be a gift. But they also teach that patience must not become self-erasure. When they finally withdraw, Virgo reminds others that even the most giving heart deserves to be honored. Another lesson lies in their silence. By observing rather than reacting, Virgo demonstrates the strength of discernment. They reveal that not every battle requires a response, and that sometimes the most powerful answer is to watch, to wait, and to understand. Their silence can be more eloquent than words, teaching others the importance of reflection before action. Virgo also teaches the necessity of boundaries. Their standards may feel intimidating to some, but they are never without purpose. These boundaries are not walls built from pride, but doors that protect peace. To learn from Virgo is to learn that self-worth sets the tone for every connection. Those who fail to respect that truth eventually learn it through the firmness of Virgo's withdrawal. Even their sharp tongue holds a lesson. When Virgo speaks with precision, they expose illusions that others may have been afraid to confront. Their words, though cutting, often free people from lies they told themselves. In this way, even their fire becomes a gift, a mirror reflecting hidden truths that must be faced. The karmic echo of Virgo's lessons is simple. You receive back what you give them. Treat their kindness with gratitude, and it multiplies. Abuse it, and the mirror of consequence will return it to you. Their presence, then, becomes not just personal, but universal, a living reminder of balance between giving and receiving. And beyond these earthly lessons lies a deeper spiritual thread. For Virgo's duality is not only human, but archetypal, a reflection of cosmic order itself. To understand their kindness and fire fully, we must look at the spiritual dimension that gives shape to their paradox. Beneath Virgo's everyday lessons lies a spiritual dimension that deepens their duality. Virgo is not just a sign of kindness and boundaries. It is an archetype of purity, discernment, and sacred service. Their nature reflects a higher order, a cosmic rhythm where compassion and judgment are not opposites, but complements. This is why their patience feels healing, and their fury feels cleansing. It mirrors the balance of the universe itself. Spiritually, Virgo represents the guardian of truth. Their kindness comes as grace, their sharpness as correction. When they serve, they embody love. When they draw boundaries, they embody justice. This blend creates a sacred paradox. Virgo heals not only by giving, but also by refusing what is toxic. Their fire, then, is not destructive, but purifying, a force that removes illusion so that only authenticity remains. Numerology offers a key to this hidden dimension. The sequence of 777 is often seen as a sign of spiritual luck and divine guidance. Virgo's journey echoes this vibration, reminding us that their truth-speaking and boundary-setting are not random but aligned with a higher order. To see Virgo's fire is to witness spiritual correction in action, a necessary adjustment to restore balance where imbalance has grown. This is why they hide their fury for so long. On a soul level, Virgo understands the weight of their fire. They know it can change the course of relationships, alter trust, and awaken realizations that cannot be reversed. So they hold it back, waiting until it becomes not just personal release but spiritual necessity. When they finally act, it feels less like anger and more like destiny at work. Their duality, then, is a living prophecy. The purity of their kindness reflects what the world could be, while the force of their fire reflects what the world must face when truth is denied. In this way, Virgo stands as both healer and judge, guide and protector, mirror and flame. This spiritual lens completes the portrait of Virgo's duality, but the story is not finished until we bring it all together. For to truly grasp why Virgo is kind until provoked, we must see their identity in full. A soul that chooses peace, but carries fire. A being that offers healing yet demands respect. And in the end, this conclusion is both a reminder and a warning. Respect the kindness, or be prepared to face the fire. Virgo's story reaches its conclusion in the paradox that has been unfolding all along. They are kind by choice, not by obligation. Their kindness is deliberate, a conscious act of generosity rooted in patience, observation, and love for order. But this same choice also gives them the right to withdraw it, to guard it, and to replace it with fire when their boundaries are violated. To know Virgo is to know both the comfort of their gentleness and the sharpness of their limits. The lesson here is simple but profound. Never mistake their kindness for weakness. Virgo's calm demeanor, their silence, their steady giving, these are all expressions of strength, not fragility. They choose peace because they value it, not because they lack the courage for confrontation. And when provoked beyond reason, their hidden fire emerges as proof of that courage, reshaping relationships and leaving a mark that cannot be forgotten. Respecting Virgo means respecting the balance they embody. To honor their patience is to receive more of it. To recognize their boundaries is to deepen trust with them. But to cross their lines, to take their silence for surrender, is to awaken a force that few expect and none can control. Their fury, though rare, is absolute. It is a fire that does not flicker once it is lit. Virgo's duality, then, is not something to be feared, but something to be honored. Their kindness is a gift that brings healing and stability to everyone around them. Their fire is a guardian, ensuring that kindness is not wasted, that their soul remains aligned with truth. Together, these two sides create a sign that is as powerful as it is misunderstood. The closing truth is this: Virgo is never common. They are called to embody both compassion and discernment, to offer peace while carrying the strength to protect it. When you meet a Virgo, you meet a soul that has mastered the art of balance. To walk with them is to walk in the safety of kindness, but to test them is to face the fire of boundaries unshakable. And so the message stands clear: respect the kindness, fear the fire. For Virgo's nature is not just human, it is archetypal, a reminder written in the stars that patience has its limits, and that even the gentlest souls carry the strength to burn when provoked.